Hello guys. So I've been down to the unit this morning and I've put the fairings on the Thunderace and the ZX12. So I'm now back in my shed. I didn't bother filming that because it was boring and I've got backache now. So I'm now back in my shed and this is going to be the next projecto. So we've got one Thunderace engine. Pretty rough condition, so just give me 2 seconds while I turn it round and I'll show you what the problem is. Right, so you can probably see what the problem is already. It looks like, I bought this engine for 75 quid off eBay. Obviously it was in bits, the head was off, the barrels were off. I've just loosely put these on just to keep them together. So they're going to take about literally 2 seconds to take off. The guy says that a chain snapped to something and it's smashed the casing in. So as you can see there's damage there, and then obviously all this damage here. Might be able to get that welded up. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see, won't we? If I can't, then I can always get some crankcases. I think we can probably do away with that, i.e. not use it. But if we get a top half, it might just, or see if I can find one where it's blown a rod or something, and this bit's good. I don't know, but we'll come up with something anyway. This will give us something to do, won't it? As long as, you know, there's no holes in it, we're alright. It just looks like I say, that's smashed off there. I'm surprised it didn't take the bloody water pump with it, unless it did, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, so a bit of rough. If we can't do what with it, you know, if it's too far gone or whatever, if there's damage to other stuff, if valves are bent, well actually I've got a load of valves, but if the valves are bent, if the piston's gone, if conrod's bent, whatever, then we can use it for spares, can't we? So it's not a problem. Like I say, it was 75 quid. Fuck all really. So we will give it a go. But that's the ultimate goal. Strip it down, have a look at that, see if we can get it repaired. Should be fairly easy to build that up with some weld, I would have thought, but I can't weld it, but my mate can, Dave. He's fucking shit hot. So it needs, you know, it's going to need quite a bit of weld in it to fill up, but I don't see why not, to be honest with you. Anyway, right, so I'll quickly take this head off. And like I say, that'll literally take 2 seconds. Right, so the rocker cover's off. Them bolts were sold on by hand. So I'm going to take the cams out now. That means I can release the chain and then I can lift the head off. So when you're taking these off, it's, you know, important that you keep them. What I'll do is I'll take them off and then I'll line them up on the bench, and when the cams are out I'll put them back in the same place. I think it actually says on there exhaust 1, exhaust 2, exhaust 3 and exhaust 4, etc. But you don't know if somebody's been fucking about with these before, so it's best just to put them back on the same place. So what I'll do is I'll show you that before I put them back in place, what I mean. Right, that's what I mean about keeping them in order, if you know what I mean. So as I've taken them off the top of the engine, I've just laid them on the bench with the bolts in line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the cams out. I'm going to let the cam chain drop down, remove the head, and then I'm going to put the cams back in the head. I think. Oh, the other thing as well is this engine's already been apart, so, and I know there's a piston missing, but see these here, that one of them's just fallen out. So one of them, yeah, has just fallen out. I think it fell out of there, and it went bling straight down that fucking spark plug hole, and I heard it tink down here, so I know that that piston's out because the fucking thing fell down. So yeah, let's just obviously with these engines, 3 lobes are the inlets, and then the 2 lobes are the exhaust. Your engine might have 2 for the exhaust and 2 for the inlet, depends what engine it is. But anyway, right, so I'll take these cams out and then well, I'll carry on. Right, so I've got the head off. Now, because, sorry about this, but because this head's been off before, I knew that the cylinder head bolts weren't tightened down. So on this particular engine, it's you've got a bolt down there, sorry, a nut down there, a nut down there, a nut down there, one down there and one down there, so you've got 2, 4, 6, you've got 8 of these. And there's, I think there's a 6mm Allen key. Now I bought a special socket. It's an impact socket, an impact Allen key with a socket on the end. And the reason I bought that is because you can attach it to a socket and it'll fit down the hole, if that makes sense. Whereas a normal socket, 6mm socket, is just too wide to fit down. That's what I've found anyway. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but the head bolts are actually, they're there. Look, they're there. So they don't come out unless you obviously take the camshaft half off, which we're not going to do. So what we're going to do is right, I've already spotted some problems. Look there, that's fucking scored. So we might be onto a loser straight away with this, and that's scored there. Do you know what I mean? So we might be onto a loser with this anyway, straight away. Right, so what I'm going to do with this then is I'll just put the camshafts back in. As you can see, there's no valves in this at all. So the previous owner must have taken the valves out, and that's quite tight, is that? So I think this is going to be a no-go anyway. So if we put this one in, that spins round quite easy, whereas this one is a bit more hard. So anyway, so if the valves were still in and you put the cams back in and you torqued the cam covers, the cams, I don't even know what they're fucking called, these blocks that hold the cams down, it'll push the valves open. So you're gonna have to be careful where you store it, or you can keep the cams separate, etc. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put them back on the head so I don't lose them, and then I'll get back to you. Right, I've put the cams back in the head. Like I say, if the valves, there's no valves in this, so I can do that. But if there's still valves in, you need to be careful when you're tightening them down. And I've only done these hand tight, that the valves will start popping out, or you might bend the camshafts. So just be careful with that. Or you can just like leave the camshafts out and put them somewhere safe, wrap them up in a box or something, and do it that way. So all I'm going to do with this now is put the rocker cover back on. I'm going to take this I've been a bit lazy. I'm going to take this oil feed pipe off. There, look, it goes there. And there. And then all I'm going to do then is just shove this head to one side somewhere, and then we'll carry on with this. Oh, and you know that thing, that shoulder thing, whatever it's called, it fell down there, look, and there's no piston in. So it's gone down in the engine. So when we split the engine, we'll see that in the bottom of the engine somewhere. Obviously, you don't do that in real life. Right, so the barrels are off. Again, in this example, you know, what I'm doing with this engine, the barrels were already off when I bought it. So I just quickly put these back on hand tight. You will experience obviously more to that. So all I'm going to do now, to be honest with you, is I'm going to take the pistons out, take the pistons off, take stuff like these brackets off, stuff like that, take that off, take the water pump off, etc. Try and get as much off as I can. But I'm going to do that later on because my back's killing me. Take all them off, and then I can start undoing the crankcase bolts and stuff like that. You know, these. Obviously you've got to undo them in a certain order. So that's it for this one. So partial strip down, but we're on with it. I just thought I'd show you this before I go. So to get the front sprocket off, there's no chain on there, obviously. So the best thing to do is when you're taking the engine out of the bike, just leave it in gear, take the sprocket off, undo the nut, and then when you remove the engine, it's all loose. But in this case, obviously, it was still done up. So all that is, this is a 32mm socket, and all this is a clutch tool. You can see there's some round pegs on the end of it. Well, they just sit in the sprocket, if you know what I mean, and that'll hold the sprocket for you. So anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Right, so I've loosened that off now, so that's now loose. Look. Fucking hell. That's a bit tight on there. Just leave that to soak in a little bit and I'll get that off. Right, this is definitely it now. Bye bye.